That would fool most people, to be fair, right?
Hey, what's up everybody? So here's the deal. What a box. Hey guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. Now I've just got back from the US where I've been filming some VinWiki stories. One of them in particular was the F40 treasure hunt that we went on 2 years ago to track down the lost F40 once famously owned by Saddam Hussein's son Udi, covered in dust, abandoned in the Iraq desert. Well, I've got an update for you. Many of you have been asking for over the past 2 years. So grab one of these, kick back and enjoy. Now, as a quick recap on our treasure hunt, we managed to track down that car from its original abandoned location on the side of the road in Erbil at a fuel station. Now, the reason we knew that was in one of the pictures, we could see the name of that fuel station, and some of the locals contacted me saying, yeah, the car was parked up there for a very long time, many years, and then it moved to another location. We tracked that down, and to be honest, the second location looked even worse. The car was covered in sand everywhere, the paint looked absolutely terrible, the rear polycarbonate Lexan screen was yellow, you just couldn't see through it at all. Not only that, the inside was wrecked, the seats looked terrible, the dash was bad, the famous steering wheel on it was, yes, shockingly bad. But the worst point so far was when you opened up that rear clam, the engine was covered in sand, and some of the pipes had been removed, so the chances of stuff getting inside that engine were very high indeed. And to give you an idea, a second-hand used F40 engine currently is around about £200,000. And with a car like the F40, you really want to retain the originality and keep the numbers that it came with from factory. So that's just the engine. How much is the rest of the car going to cost to restore? Then our trail of the F40 went a little bit cold until we found out that a specialist was flown in from Belgium to Iraq to work on the car. Now, the reason that happened is there's obviously no Ferrari dealerships, there's no Ferrari specialists in Iraq, being that there are no Ferraris there apart from the ones that were previously owned by royalty. Now, this guy tried to fix the car. He was quite successful, he got it running, but it still didn't sound too good at all. We had it all stripped out. Apparently he had problems getting the ECU sorted, and they had to be remotely reprogrammed. Anyway, he got the car going, and again the trail goes a little bit quiet, and then I get a load of information from people saying they've seen the car actually being driven on the road, and they know where the car currently is and who owns it. So at that point we were up to speed. We were to present day 2 years ago, where we found out where the car was located, who owned it, and we even got pictures and videos of the car live being driven around. Well, the car was missing a lot of bits. It looked a lot better than it did when it was covered in sand, but it didn't sound too good at all. Have a listen to this. And then something crazy happened. The owner of the F40 caught wind that we were looking for it, and he offered to sell it to us, but he wanted 1.2 million for it. Now, to give you an example, back 2 years ago, you could pick up a very nice F40 for between 800,000 and £1 million. So this guy wanted more than that for a very checkered history F40, which was definitely not the best example and was running like an absolute dog. Anyway, naturally we turned that one down, but what happened to the car since in the last 2 years? Well, Let's find out.
Now, a big part of my build process is often tracking down rare parts that are, in most cases, no longer available from Ferrari. I look around the world, but I found that you don't always get to see everything that's available because you're in a different country. However, with today's video sponsor Surfshock and one simple little click, it opens up a whole world of possibilities. Let me show you exactly how it's really helped me out on my builds.
Take these carbon ceramic brakes, for example, for the Stradale. Now, I've been after a set of these for a while. I've picked these up from eBay in Germany. However, they were never appearing on any listing from here in the UK, even if I went directly onto the ebay.de, the German website. It wasn't until I used Surfshock, pinged my VPN via the Munich server, it opened up a whole new load of listings that otherwise I never knew were there. So I picked these up for an absolute bargain. And this is the same from anywhere around the world. If you're in the US, you cannot see all of the listings here in the UK unless you use the VPN.
So by using Surfshock, not only do I get the protection and security on all my data and devices, I also get to save money and find deals on bargains around the world that I otherwise would never have known existed. But the best bargain by far is by using my link in the description below the video. You're going to save a whopping 83% off plus 3 months extra free, and there's a money back guarantee, so it's an absolute no-brainer. That, my friends, is the equivalent of about 3 years worth of Surfshock for one of these Ferrari titanium wheel bolts. Anyway, guys, gotta say a huge thanks to Surfshock for continuing to support the Ratarossa channel. Make sure you head over to Surfshock, check those out while I get back to the build.
So my first lead came a couple of months after putting the video out, when I was getting some information and emails to say that the F40 is now located in Saudi. And Saudi made total sense because it borders Iraq. There's plenty of money there, there's plenty of supercars, and an F40 would be right at home there. Anyway, I started to do some digging around, spoke to a close friend who works on these supercars, is a very renowned Ferrari specialist, and he confirmed, yes, the car is supposed to be coming to us. Did a bit of digging, got some pictures. Now, something was not right, because the pictures were clearly not the same car. There was no way that the quality of the car that we were being shown was the same F40 that was located in Iraq. Even if someone had done a lot of good work on it, there was no way. This car looked new, but the VIN numbers were the same. So something very, very fishy was going on there. We started digging a little bit more into this, and it went completely cold. Nothing happened. The car didn't materialize at my friend's workshop, and so we continued the hunt.
Now, during that first week that we were on this F40 treasure hunt, something very strange happened. I was contacted by the guys at Gas Monkey Garage, in particular Big Chris, who had already flown out to Erbil in Iraq and looked at the F40. Yes, the guys at Gas Monkey had beaten Ratarossa to the chase, and not by a little margin. They had been out there years before I even knew about this car. Anyway, the stories Chris told me about this trip, this adventure, were mind-blowing. They were bonkers. They will put the hairs on your arms. They'll make them stand up and jump out of your arms. Anyway, some of the details he shared with me, some of them he hasn't. He's gonna be writing a book about his car escapades from all around the world, which is going to be an absolutely amazing read. But the stuff that he did tell me was, at the time, Gas Monkey had just finished the black F40 build, the very popular one on the channel, and they had a surplus of parts. So it made sense for them to try and find another F40, a very neglected one. Well, the one in Iraq completely fit the bill. They were going to use the parts and all their newfound knowledge on how to rebuild an F40 to rebuild the red car from Iraq, and then quickly flip it, make a bit of money. Totally makes sense. But the issue was, when Chris actually got to Erbil in Iraq, well, first of all, he was escorted most of the time at gunpoint, but he got to see this F40 and it was in a terrible state, a lot worse than they were anticipating. There was sand absolutely everywhere, as you saw in the pictures before. The car needed an extensive rebuild, literally a nut and bolt. There was a lot of money that was going to have to be spent. Now, if you ever watched the black F40 on the show, you will see that with a little bit of smashed up front end and frame damage cost Richard a lot of money. So this one, doing a full nut and bolt on an F40, well, you got to ask yourself, is it worth it, especially with the history on the car? Not only was the condition really bad, but there were also ECUs missing, there was sand in the engine. This car was in a terrible state. However, the guys did actually put a deal together, and it was for a considerable amount less than the 1.2 million we were offered the car for. There was one stipulation. First of all, it had to be paid for in cash. And again, there was a big lack of paperwork. So actually getting the car out of Iraq was one problem. But then if you ever wanted to register it or sell it, you've got another massive problem on your hands, because it basically looks like it's a stolen F40. So the Gas Monkey guys came very, very close to buying the F40. They invested a lot of time and a lot of money into trying to get that car. They had the right paperwork in place, they had the right transportation in place, but really it boiled down to the fact that this car had to be paid for in cash, and that was a little bit too sketchy given the circumstances. Shortly after I put the video out, Saddam Hussein's daughter, yes, that's right, you heard me, Saddam Hussein's daughter took to her Twitter account, who was well aware of this F40 that I was trying to find, and basically said that anybody who tries to take that F40 out of Iraq, which rightfully belongs to her family, would face consequences. That for me was enough for Ratarossa to back off the case. However, what she didn't know is the car had already left the country. Yep, that's right. At some point in the past, the F40 had left Iraq. It had made its way somehow to Istanbul, where it ended up at a dealer who was supposed to fix it up, service it, make it good again, and then get rid of it, sell it. However, the lack of paperwork, and let's face it, the most dodgy looking F40 on the planet, ends up raising a few flags. Naturally, Interpol then got involved. Long story short, the F40 was shipped back to Iraq, which kind of makes sense as to why our Belgian F40 specialist had to then be flown to Iraq to fix the car there and then.
Now, over the last couple of years, several people have contacted me saying they've got this F40 and do I want to buy it? Well, nothing's really materialized. But then last year, one chap who is famous for finding many hidden movie cars said he had the car and he would actually bring it to my house, show me it and give me first refusal on it. Well, here's what happened.
From this angle, that would fool most people, to be fair, right? However, when we kind of like work our way round here, it starts to reveal its true nature.
If I just stand here, right, and just completely take things away from you, so you can't, you're looking at me, you're not looking at the proportions, then this is a real Ferrari Rocher.
If I keep walking around here, eventually you can't really see the wheelbase. There you go.
It's real again.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It doesn't take a genius to work out that that definitely was not the Iraq car, and was in fact a very poor replica built on a Fiero, and Mr. Sam Hard of Hard Up Garage is a bit of a joker. But Sam wasn't the only one. Like I say, there were several other people that contacted me over the space of 2 years, claiming that they had the car, that they'd got it out of Iraq, but nothing really materialized. They were using old images that they'd found from the internet and really just trying to either extract some money from me or anybody else who wanted to buy it, or just, you know, claim some fame on it. But there were some things that were very interesting that came out over the course of the 2 years. I managed to see quite a few very nice F40s and even some great replicas. This one was really good at a fraction of the price and claimed that it used 80% of real F40 parts. And I even went to see it. To be honest, it was extremely good. It had the presence of an F40, but it wasn't the real deal. So really, where is this car? Is it still in Iraq, or has it made its way out? Well, I spoke to my local guys who helped me out 2 years ago in Erbil in Iraq to find out what they knew. Well, they confirmed that really they haven't seen this car for quite some time. And so I started doing a little bit of digging, and that's when I got an email. And it said that the car is for sale for 1.7 million euros, which again is very high. And I don't know how you really appraise its previous owner and whether that makes the car worth more money or a lot less because of the history of it and the condition of it, but 1.7 million euros no less. And apparently it's made its way out. So I started doing a little bit of digging and they sent me a video to say, well, this car has been worked on. It's much better than it was back then. It's not actually too bad. And don't forget, this car has only got 3,000 kilometers on it. Now, if that was a mint F40, that would be completely at the top of the price chain, which is currently about, there's a lot of F40s now that have gone from £1 million and are being asked over £2 million for these cars. So with 3,000 kilometers on it, if it was mint, it would be up there. Now this one is 1.7 million euros, but it's got a very checkered history. So did it make it out? Well, they sent me a video of the car again being worked on. Now it looks like the mechanic is the same guy that was in the previous video. So is this at the same time? Looking at it, it doesn't look so. If you look at the backdrop and then you compare it to the videos and the last pictures that I had at its final location parked up, you can see the same car in the background and it looks like the rear wall. So it looks like this mechanic flew back into Erbil and has worked on this F40 once again. And then it says, and I've been shown pictures, that the car has been at the local agency, and that's where it's saying the car has been exported. Well, apparently this car is now heading for Europe. Well guys, it does actually appear that the car is going to leave Iraq. It's going to Europe. I can't reveal exactly where it is right now because I'm sworn to secrecy on this one. But if it does actually make it there, I will fly there. I'll bring you another video next to the car. We will see how it looks like live, see just how bad it is. Can it be restored? Has it been restored? I'm not sure about that right now. I don't think so. But we will see it live on the channel and I will bring you that. And we'll finally close the chapter on the F40 treasure hunt. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget you can check out what I get up to on a daily basis over on my socials. Until the next one, stay safe. Ciao for now.